When Iron Lady Sanae Takaichi stepped into the spotlight in October 2025 as Japan's first female prime minister, she shattered a glass ceiling that had endured for generations. Her rise marks a historic and symbolic milestone for a nation long dominated by men in politics. But it's more than symbolism. It signals the beginning of a politically conservative, security-driven, and economically ambitious leadership style that could reshape Japan's future and influence the global stage. For the United States and its allies, her ascent matters deeply. Here's who she is, what she stands for, and why her premiership is poised to play a defining role in the US-Japan relationship and beyond. Born in 1961 in Nara Prefecture, Sanae Takaichi did not come from the political aristocracy that shaped many of Japan's leaders. Her father was a salaried worker, and her mother served as a police officer. A modest, hard-working family, far from Tokyo's political elite. Before entering politics, Takaichi led a remarkably colorful life. She worked in television, wrote opinion columns, and even played drums in a heavy metal band during her youth. She has often said that those early experiences gave her a rhythm for public life, a mix of curiosity, creativity, and confidence that carried into her political career. She first ran for office in 1992, but lost, a setback that only strengthened her resolve. 4 years later, she joined the ruling Liberal Democratic Party in 1996 and gradually built a reputation as a bold, outspoken, and disciplined lawmaker. Over the next 3 decades, she held several key cabinet and party posts, including Minister of Internal Affairs, Minister for Communications, and Minister for Economic Security. A close protege of the late former Prime Minister Shinzo Abe, Takaichi closely aligned herself with his conservative vision for Japan's future. In October 2025, she captured the leadership of the LDP after a hard-fought runoff election, defeating several high-profile rivals. Days later, she was confirmed by Japan's parliament as the nation's 104th prime minister, winning 237 votes in the lower house and officially breaking one of Japan's highest remaining glass ceiling. Takaichi is committed to what she calls stimulus with muscle. She supports reviving the Abe-era economic strategy known as Abenomics, a mix of public spending, monetary easing, and structural reform, aimed at lifting Japan out of long-standing economic stagnation. She has pledged tax cuts, direct cash payouts to households, and greater investment in innovation and infrastructure to spur sustainable growth. At the same time, she champions a stronger national defense posture for Japan. Takaichi has openly advocated revising Japan's pacifist constitution and expanding the mission of the self-defense forces, citing growing threats from China and North Korea. Yet she also emphasizes the importance of maintaining and strengthening the US-Japan alliance, calling it the cornerstone of regional stability. This is where her record becomes more complex. While she has broken barriers as Japan's first female prime minister, her social views remain deeply conservative. She opposes the legalization of same-sex marriage, is skeptical of allowing married women to retain their maiden names, and supports the continuation of male-only succession within Japan's imperial family. These positions put her at odds with much of the global conversation on gender equality and human rights, highlighting the tension between her groundbreaking rise and her traditionalist worldview. Japan remains the United States' most critical ally in the Indo-Pacific, and Takaichi's leadership comes at a pivotal moment. Her determination to strengthen Japan's defense capabilities and preserve close ties with Washington is significant for U.S. policymakers concerned about China's growing assertiveness and regional security tensions. Her agenda signals that Japan intends to take on a more proactive and influential role in both defense and diplomacy. Economically, her emphasis on stimulus and growth could have ripple effects across global markets. Japan's monetary and fiscal policies directly influence currency values, bond yields, and international trade flows. A weaker yen or aggressive stimulus measures could affect U.S. exports, financial markets, and supply chain dynamics, areas that Washington will monitor closely. While her appointment is historic for women in Japan, Takaichi's platform also raises questions about what kind of progress her leadership represents. For many U.S. observers focused on social values, corporate diversity, and democratic governance, her conservative stances complicate the narrative that a female leader automatically represents feminist advancement. Her approach reflects a blend of nationalism and traditionalism that challenges Western assumptions about gender and leadership. Takaichi also steps into power amid rising tensions in East Asia. Her alliance with the right-leaning Japan Innovation Party and her controversial visits to the Yasukuni Shrine, where Japan's war dead, including several convicted war criminals, are honored, may further strain relations with China and South Korea. For the United States, her premiership will test whether Japan can maintain regional stability while asserting a more independent identity on the world stage. A fragile coalition. The LDP lost its longtime partner, Komeito, forcing Takaichi to form a new alliance with Ishin. Her government begins without a clear majority, raising the risk of political instability and legislative gridlock. Economic headwinds. Japan faces sluggish growth, deflationary pressures, a rapidly aging population, and rising living costs. Delivering meaningful economic relief while keeping public debt under control is an urgent priority that will test her fiscal discipline. Domestic expectations versus ideological reality. Many citizens hope that a woman prime minister would accelerate gender equality and modernize workplace culture. However, Takaichi's conservative social agenda means she must balance symbolic progress with policy choices that may not align with global expectations or domestic hopes for reform. Regional shifts. With China's influence expanding, North Korea's missile tests continuing, and the US recalibrating its alliances, Japan must tread carefully. Takaichi's hardline defense stance will need to be tempered with diplomatic finesse to prevent escalation while preserving national security. Global optics. For U.S. businesses and policymakers, the central question is whether Japan under her leadership will remain a stable, reliable partner, or whether ideological and economic shifts could create new uncertainty in trade, investment, and regional strategy. Sanae Takaichi's rise to the top of Japanese politics is undeniably historic, a woman leading a nation that has long been dominated by men. Yet the title of First Woman alone doesn't capture the complexity of her achievement or the challenges ahead. She represents a rare blend of economic urgency, conservative social values, and national security assertiveness that sets the tone for a new era in Japan's leadership. For the United States, her premiership offers both promise and caution. Promise in the form of deeper security cooperation, stronger trade relations, and renewed economic engagement. Caution in the areas of social policy divergence, regional diplomacy, and coalition fragility. Takaichi's strategy is clear: to make Japan stronger, more self-reliant, and less passive on the world stage. Whether she can transform that vision into measurable results, jobs, growth, fairness, and lasting security remains to be seen. Her time in office will ultimately test whether symbolism can truly evolve into substance.